Blessings, blessings, blessings. Come on, let's have a conversation. Blessings. All right. Blessings, blessings to my 3 viewers. It doesn't show me your name just yet. Well, to our 5 viewers. It doesn't show me your name just yet, but we thank you for joining this conversation with us on tonight. Hey, woman of God, how are you? How's my little girl doing? How's she doing? Good to see all of you. Those of you who are here tonight, we pray your day has been wonderful. Blessings, Pastor. Blessings. Tonight, we are only going to be on for a little while. We've been trying to do better with not staying on as long. You guys know if you want people to see what you're saying, make sure you're on the Love in the MIC page. And the question of the night is, why can't you see me? Very straightforward question. Why can't you see me? We will definitely, oh my God, we will definitely be praying for her and you. That's a long time to have to wait. She's going to be in surgery for 10 hours. We pray God's blessings. What's your daughter's name? Give me your daughter's name. And we will make sure she stays on our corporate list until she comes through that. That's a long time for her as a young lady. But what's her name? I'm writing it down now, so don't forget to put it in our prayer chat. Here's my bestie, Sanaya. Sanaya. Am I saying it right? Sanaya? Hey, Dom. Oh.
Why can't you see me?
Why can't you? Yes.
Oh, I thought you was asking something. You can tell me what the topic was. Sorry.
I did a whole lot.
I didn't see it.
Okay. Sanaya is going through a 10-hour surgery on February 13th, and she just came back. She's recovering from a 10-hour surgery on December 13th. She is definitely a trooper. Every time you see her in church, she is really giving God everything.
Sonia, I received your Cash App. Thank you.
So tonight. Anybody saw West Side Story?
No.
Oh, that's the song on West Side Story. Tonight. Hey, Tosh. Getting ready.
Hi.
We pray.
Oh, I thought that said help. I was going to say, what's the matter?
Oh my gosh. So, like I said, we won't be on too long tonight, but it had been prophesied that this particular platform, prophesied by not just my bestie, but 2 others, about where Loving the Me I See was going. The territory was being enlarged. Series and sequels were going to come. And then somebody else came up to me and said, hey, that's crazy that they would prophesy that to you tonight when I'm here, because this is something I meant to talk to you about. And so there's another part of this that will kick off at some point or another. Hey, T. But we're saying we're learning how to love the me that we see. And then the question that many of us have had at some point or another in our lives is when we wanted to ask those around us, like, why can't you see me? Like, I've been here doing whatever needed to be done. I've been here listening to you vent. I've been here making sure everything concerning you was good. I've been here to show others how to do the job that I'm already doing, not realizing that they were going to supersede me. I was here. And so, why can't you see me? Why are you stuck on what you want to see? Why are you stuck on what you want to see? There's so much more to me than what you're looking at. But because you can't see past what you need from me or what you want from me, you miss me. You miss me. Because all you see is your help. You don't see me. You don't see me. You see your help. You see what you need me to be for the moment. Your messenger, your garbage can, your gopher, that. You see all of that, but you never see me. You never even inquired as to my real abilities, other than the things that I'm able to do for you. Do you know anything else about me? If somebody was to really come and ask you a question concerning me, could you give them a definite response? And I say that, and it sounds silly, but for real, there's some people in my life right now who are attached to other people who still, after 3 to 4 and 5 years, don't know who she is or what she likes or even her favorite color or what she likes to do. Like there are so many. You'd be surprised at how many people who say they know you outside of your name and yet still can't tell anybody about you. Even if they, let's go this far, we're trying to set you up with somebody, all they can tell them is what they see, but they're not describing who you are. So when you show up to this person, you're still not who they said you would be, because they came from a different perspective. You came ready to be your authentic self. And this person is waiting for the one that was described to them. That's why people don't like going on blind dates, because the person ends up not being what was said. But why is it so hard for you to see me? Are you intimidated? Undercover? Like, who wouldn't want? I've said so often to my bestie, I don't know what kind of people were in your life before me. When I say that, how come they can't see all this love that I see? How come they never spent time nurturing this ball of love that you are? And she really couldn't answer it, because that was a good question. Why didn't they see her? All they saw was, if we going out to eat, I know I ain't gotta bring no money because she gonna pay. That was the main thing that pissed me off. Because you saying let's go out, but you anticipate me paying. But I would have been home minding my business if you wouldn't have said let's go out. So what is it that you are to people that is keeping them, hey Pastor Tracy, that is keeping them from seeing the real you? What do you have to say about that?
What do you think about people that don't see the real you?
The real you. Okay, so
I think they're selfish and
forget that we besties. I'm just somebody that you constantly are with, whatever social gatherings, whatever church, whatever the reason is, that we're commonly in the same area. Why is it that me and you could be in church for 7 years and then somebody could come to you and express interest and you can't tell them who I am?
Because I think they wrapped up in themselves. A lot of people don't know who they are, so they can't tell somebody else about somebody else. You clueless about who you are, how you gonna tell me who I am? That's what I think.
What about you guys? Have any of you had that question that you wanted to ask somebody, or maybe because you saw it was my topic tonight, you was like, man, I've been wanting to ask that question for a long time. I'm telling you, I didn't always have this question because I was too busy being what everybody wanted me to be. So I didn't have time to entertain such a question because crazy me, I was just glad to be a part. I was just glad to be included. I was just glad to be in the number because I just wanted uh, people to love me. I just wanted people to get to know me.
Blessings, Apostle Doctor
Pastor Rivera. Tasha says, I think jealousy and envy plays a role.
Yes.
And that's what I was saying earlier, like you undercover, intimidated on the down low, as everybody's saying today. I just said undercover. You acting like you care about me, but what you're doing is making sure that I don't get further than you. So you're going to keep me busy doing whatever because I won't have time to spend on what it would take for me to move. You see the anointing in me. Unfortunately, I haven't yet. And there are many people, now I don't care how old you are, there are many people who've been in church for many years and still don't know their purpose, still don't understand their destiny. Pastor Rivera says, you allow people not to see you. Explain, because I like that answer. Explain. You allow people not to see you. Is it because of what I'm saying now? Like, because I spent so much time trying to appease them or make them feel like I spent more time making them feel like they were important than I did to make sure people knew I was alive. Right, right. They see it and will try to block you from getting there. I'm telling you, they really will. Pastor Rivera, I'm waiting. I can't wait to see your answer. Yeah, because I'm telling you, people think, the confidence that I have today. Yes, ma'am.
Why do I was reading Sister Tasha's
Pastor
comment.
Jealousy
I
and
think jealousy
envy.
and envy. Why do people now? All my life, I have never ever carried that seed, and I thank God because I'm not jealous of anybody because I'm secure in who I am. But why is it that people become jealous of other people? Like, what is your gain of being jealous of somebody? Like, you could get the same thing they have or better.
Because they spend more time wanting to be jealous than they do wanting to get in the
That's
result.
so crazy to me.
Y'all doing it tonight. I'm loving it. Thank you for commenting. Let me post this one so people could see. Tasha says she thinks jealousy and envy plays a role, and I totally 100% agree that that is part of what the issue is. Pastor Rivera says you allow people not to see you. Many of us are guilty of that. Many of us. Some of us are afraid to show who we are because we don't want people to think that we're trying to outshine them, or we don't want people to think that we're better than them, and so we dummy down. We dummy down so nobody don't think that we trying to rain on their parade, when the fact of the matter is they're pulling from you, so they know it's in you. So why don't they give you that credit? They pull it out of you and then take credit for what comes out of it. Sonia says they see it and they will try to block you from getting there. Real talk. They usually say that's among women. They call us crabs because they say you crawling up the box and then another one come and grab you by the leg, pull you back down in the box. But I beg to differ. In these last years, I am finding out that there's no respect of person on who is a crab, because they have male crabs too. They even have more meat. There's male crabs. Yes. And so we have to spend so much time.
You know about that word. I'm sorry.
No, go.
Expectations. I have learned the hard way about expectations. That's what we should talk about.
We can do that another time. I don't have no problem.
I have put my expectations in people, Pastor Rivera, and when I don't get what I expect that they should give me, it hurts because I've learned from, okay, so I can only talk about my last marriage before my marriage now. My expectations of my ex was so high that when wrong was done, I couldn't even see it. Like when things happen, it could be right here looking at me in the face, and I'd be like, "Nah, man, nah, that ain't the sky ain't purple and that ain't pink, and it's right here." And that comes from putting your expectations. Y'all is going into
Mhm.
your expectations so highly, and people more highly than God. And he said has have no other images before me. And that's what I was making him a God. So he removed him, right? Because I was making him
An idol.
and that word idol, have no idols, and I was making him an idol. So that word expectations cut me deep because I put so much expectation in other people, and when it don't happen, I'd be disappointed, but I put myself there. It's crazy, but it's true.
It's a part of her makeup. She still does it.
Oh God.
She still does it.
Mm.
Pastor Tracy, you disagree with who? I disagree. People that are jealous because they can't obtain what you have, because what you had to endure to get, they can't or won't go through it to obtain it. Your gifts and anointings look good on you, so people are envious and jealous. So, which part did you disagree with? Sounds like you said what they said, just worded it different. People don't know what the word expectation means.
Right. Right.
There are we probably should do a whole thing on expectations
That thing
because
hit me deep.
because you know what you forgot, Pastor Tracy. Because unspoken expectation kills a lot of relationships.
What about when you speak them and it still don't happen?
Right, but there are many that when you start to counsel and talk to them, you find out that they expected it. They just never told the other person that they expected it, but they held them accountable for not making it happen.
Pastor Revere, when you see me, I think you're gonna have to put some oil on me because that one hit deep. When you said it, it was like a wound still open and it cut because that expectation, man, is a killer.
They have, and that's why I said I spent many years not knowing who I was because I was too busy being what they saw me as. I didn't have the boldness that most people would have thought because I was very curt. I've always been that person who says exactly what she feels, but at the same time, I must admit that I dummied down to make someone feel more important because I saw uh, how it made them feel. And so I was happy because I made somebody else feel happy, but I didn't consider the fact that it was causing me to be somebody I really wasn't. It took me, I'm telling y'all, I was well in my 30s before I made up in my mind, no more. I'm not doing that. Like, it's time for me to think about me, and I don't care what nobody thinks. And that freedom in itself, man, oh man. Then people try to make you feel like you too good, or you trying to act like you holier than thou, or you ain't got no. It's not that. It's just that now I've decided to focus on me rather than everybody else and then me, because focusing on everybody and then me landed me by myself, because I made everyone else feel good. I lifted everybody else up. If they had something they had to do and they didn't understand it, I did it for them and I allowed them to take the credit for work that I did. So then when it came time for me to do it, it looked like I was copying, when in fact, they were only living and thriving off of things that I took place in making happen for them. I pulled from my resources to make somebody else look good and graduate. And then when it came time for that to come towards me, I look around and there's no one.
So what are you doing in instances like that?
Keep living. It hurt.
Chicken or something, sorry.
Chicken.
Something.
It hurt to find myself alone after helping so many people be what they needed to be, and to sit with somebody who felt they were alone, or listen to somebody who felt like nobody else wanted to hear what they had to say, or gave somebody advice on how to go to people because they didn't know how they were going to be accepted. And I sat in meetings with people as a mediator so that they can have peace and so that they can solve. But then when it became my turn, people were killing my name. People had so much to say. There were people who lived out of my home, who lived out of my closet, and still were a part of the people who were tearing me down. Hey, I thought I saw Isha on here too. Hey, Ma. Hey, Kendra. She said, hey,
hey, Ladybug.
You cannot allow people to allow you to lower your expectations. You can't settle, because if you lose yourself trying to keep people around, you will continuously. And that's what happened.
You are talking tonight. Where to send your offering?
That's what I just said. That's what I did. I spent so many years doing that, and then found myself alone. And now that with the help of God, I have gotten to where I am now, people are like, oh, I didn't know that about you. You didn't. Because rather than you come and find out for yourself, you went off of what other people were saying. When the fact of the matter is they were saying enough to keep you away from me, to keep you in their corner.
So what happens? Okay, so this was good. You cannot allow people to allow you to lower your expectations.
I ain't dummying down no more.
So let me ask. So my next question is, what happens when you feel like those expectations are not important, or it's not going to be carried out? So you don't even give the person expectations. You just go with the flow.
When you're made to feel like you don't matter?
When you're made to feel like, yeah, because it happened for so long. You gave a person your expectations. You expected them to follow them out. You thought that they were. They didn't. And then you move on. It could be a friendship, a relationship, whatever. And you're afraid to voice those expectations because you still feel like they're going to do you just like the next person. So how do you help someone move forward from there, if that makes sense?
Well, y'all heard me say a few minutes ago about unspoken expectations. Let me see if we missing anything anybody saying first. Tanisha says people only see what you are to them because we haven't taken the time to take a step back to discover. That's, you just came on, so you won't know that we said that already. But that's good because it lets me know that many people have the same mindset and we see it as the same.
Hey, Tati. Tati talking.
She talking, honey. When you realize that you didn't want to live like that anymore, what steps did you take to change it? Coming back to you, Tati. Back to Apostle. A lot of people, as I said a few minutes ago, yes, she said the expectations were communicated.
Yes.
Unspoken expectations damages a lot of relationships because some people are just so glad to be in a relationship, whether it be friendship, lovership, courtship, whatever the ship. You're just so glad to be aboard the ship that you don't want to risk rocking the boat. So you have this expectation,
and you scared,
and you don't say nothing because you scared you might rock that boat and you might be the one that fall off, not the other person. And so you hold on to the fact that that's what you expect, and you still look at them. So when they don't do it, you're slowly but surely dying to what's in front of you, because in your mind they're still not meeting your expectation, but you're not accepting the fact that you never told them. Right. Now, there are some people that take the time to get to hear what I say, take the time to get to know one another. And so therefore you have an opportunity to say, this is, because when you're sitting down and talking to somebody, even if what friendship, regular friendships, like whether it be your girlfriend, your boyfriend. When I say girlfriend or boyfriend, I ain't talk about in dating sense. Back in the day, we could say girlfriend and boyfriend, and people didn't always think you were in a relationship. Right. So whether it be friendship, relationship, lovers, whatever, when you have that, when you're making that friendship, when you're gelling that friendship together, you're spending those times, I would think, saying, hey, what kind of things you like? You know, I tell people, you observe the thing that you love. I say it all the time. And if you don't never know nothing, then you ain't observing nothing. So yeah, you spend that time, and this, what would you like, or what don't you like? What's your what did I say to you? What's your deal breaker? What's your deal breaker? Or what's something that somebody, one of your previous friends did that you really didn't like? Because when you're asking those questions, you find out whether it's something that you have a tendency to do. And so now it brings up a conversation and how we get by that, how I try to stay away from that, because I know that it is something that already aggravates you. Like, there are some, you have to communicate. How do we get our expectation? We said we was going to do another live on that.
But you out
But right, I'm all the way out there now, right? But it's still, actually, it ties in with why can't you see me? Why can't you see me? Not Apostle.
Me for me.
Not the person who always run your errands. Not the person you know you can always get money from. Not the one who'd always lie for you when you ain't where you're supposed to be. Like, when you get past all of those things that you have been for that person, why, when, what is it going to take for them to see you? Other than walking away, and then they realize what they lost, because they always say you never wish your water till your well run dry.
That's the truth.
But the fact of the matter is, I've been trying to get you to see me all this time, the things that I was doing. And even though I was going about it the wrong way, I was young, going about it the wrong way. I was just doing these things because I wanted to be noticed. I didn't realize that you still weren't seeing me. You were seeing what I was willing to do for you. And so that there's a difference in that. Yes, Prophet.
We supposed to answer.
Be intentional in getting to know. I'm answering Tati. I'm giving an answer, Tati, but I had to answer you first.
I was trying to see. I'm sorry. Pastor Rivera said it was in his previous comment to Tati. I was trying to see what comment to answer Tati's question.
When you realized that you didn't want to live like that anymore? In what previous comment?
I don't know. That's what I was trying to see. If you set expectations and communicate your expectations and they don't meet them, let go.
Oh, I didn't even see that. How do we get past that one?
Work, you can't. I didn't even see that, Pastor.
If you set expectations and communicate your expectations and they don't meet them, let them go. Walk away. You know what? That sounds so simple, but it seems to be the hardest thing for people to do. Many people stay with the hopes that it'll change. Some stay because it's been voiced that it's going to change, because you address the fact that, hey, we had this conversation, you knew what I was expecting, and you still stayed. So since you stayed, that meant you were willing to accommodate me with these expectations, and vice versa. And so Pastor Rivera is saying, okay, so you did that. And so now we had this conversation and we agreed we're going to do all this stuff, and they're not doing it. Walk away from it. But for some people, they've invested too much time to just walk away. It might be the very best thing for them to do, but it's still the hardest thing. If you've been with something for 10 years, there's no way you're just walking out the door with nothing. But if no more but a memory, you you just, because in days of old, you just didn't leave your mate. You didn't walk away from people like that. You just didn't. You stayed, and Jesus was going to fix it. No other solution. Pray. Jesus is going to fix it. And many people are miserably married today because of the demands and the teachings of olden day. And we just were taught to stay miserable. God will give you the grace. That's basically what was said in a nutshell. And so now you have the modern day who will be like, yeah, first of all, we didn't live with people before we got married. Now everybody want to test drive and everybody want to
Not
move.
test drive,
Yeah,
Lord.
they want to sleep with you and find out if you're gonna be compatible before they say I do. They want to live with you and see how it is. You want to do all of this before you put the ring on, and that's where a lot of people mess up, because you ought to be able to see me before all that. If you love me, you will trust that. See, this is what I'm saying. There's a difference between loving somebody and being in love. When you love somebody, you can walk away from that because you can love again. When you're in love with somebody, it is so hard to just walk away. And even after you walk away, you find yourself saying, wait, did I do the right thing? Or oh man, what I just messed up. Oh my God, what am I going to do now to get back? Because it is a different level of love. And so while and I know that he's not saying that it's easy. You need my air. You're not saying that it's easy, but when you say just walk away, it sounds like, oh, it's easy. Just leave. And unfortunately, it's not. It's not as easy. It's easier for some than
If you
others.
ain't in love, it's easier.
It's easier
away.
than some for some than others. Not everybody has the stamina
the
or
investment
like they don't have. Some people are just afraid of being alone. Blessings, Pastor from the South. You remember the Barneses? Gia Barnes, right?
How's your husband?
That's
doing?
him.
Oh, blessings. He was in a car accident.
He was?
Yes, he was.
Oh my God, we praying for you. So yeah, Pastor Rivera, this is a very good statement. And if all of us really had that kind of strength, it would be great. But the truth of the matter is, because of people's either upbringing or because of the devastation of previous relationships, most people, if this one is better than the other one, even though this one sucks, it doesn't suck as much as the other one. So I might as well just stay here, because then their reasoning is, well, I stayed with that one, so why I can't stay with this one, not understanding that they're still dying. They're dying. They're losing themselves. They're losing their voice. And it just is not worth it all. And you want somebody to see you for who you are. Okay. Examples, dating wise. Hey, daughter, you know you're on the wrong page, right? There were a couple of people that had an opportunity to date, but their requirement immediately put you in the mindset of Old Testament. You're gonna walk behind me. Your title can't be higher than mine. I'm gonna need your head covered. All this stuff like that. But that's not who you met. So why are you trying to change me so you can marry me? That means that you're not satisfied with what you already see. And I don't know why people don't see that. Oh, that he just saying that because when he know how he wants. Yeah, he does know what he wants. But that's not who you are. But he's telling you, if we're going to date, this is what I need you to become. Well, where he becoming something? So you have to ask that question. Why can't you see me? Why can't you see me? That's not who I am. That's not, you ain't even seen me wear that not one time. So what about that made you think I would just want to walk into it? And then for some of us, we just want so bad to be loved and accepted. We're willing to do that. If this means that I got to do this to be with them, then I'm willing to do it. But then when you ask them, well, what is that person doing for you? You get that face that says, oh, I never thought about asking that, or I didn't want to put too much pressure on him because of this. And we justify not getting what we deserve.
So would that be the answer to her question? I was trying to understand what she asking. If
She said
give your expectations.
She said once you do that, she asked, in other words, how did you deal with it?
How did you move on to the next
Yes,
step?
she's asking you how you dealt with it. Let me show you what she said. Let's look at Tanasia's comment first. People can only see what you are to them because we haven't taken the time to take a step back to discover our real self.
That's what I said.
That's what we're talking about tonight. This is what we're saying. This is what we're saying. Tati says, when you realized that you didn't want to live like that anymore, what steps did you take to change it?
That's what I was trying to understand.
But
Realize you didn't
basically,
want to
Pastor
live like what
Rivera
anymore?
advice is walk away. So she wants to, because I say maybe unless she's referring to me. Tati, are you talking to me?
That's what I was asking.
Because I said that once I got that freedom from it. So are you referring to me? Who are you posing your question to, Tati?
That you didn't want to live like
mm-hmm. What steps did you take to change it? Because I said I'm not
there
anymore.
Like, right, but I wasn't sure if she was talking about the expectations or live with the person anymore. That's why I wanted to go back.
But living with the person comes along with the expectations of that person. Because in order for us to live together, there are certain expectations we both have of one another. If we don't voice them, how can we hold somebody accountable to what we didn't tell them? But if you told them and they still not doing it, that's what Pastor Rivera said. Like, if you sat down and y'all had this conversation and y'all talked about it and they not doing it, then walk away.
I think before you walk away, you should get counseling involved.
Well,
that's what I think. I think that people miss that step. Instead of getting counseling or getting help or getting somebody involved that can help you through the process and not be so secretive about everything, I think that more marriages would last longer.
Oh, I like that, Prophet. You can't live in potential so long that you reject reality. And y'all are saying y'all are with one accord tonight, Pastor Rivera and Prophet Tiquan. You're basically saying the same thing, but from a different perspective. Therefore, you're answering a twofold for all of us that are online. Like you said earlier in your previous comment, Prophet, be intentional. Be intentional when you're getting to know a person. They talk about me because I ask cutthroat questions from the door. But how else will you know? I ain't got at this, I am 61 years old. I do not have time for games. So if somebody is pursuing me, what I'm asking them up front is, what is it that you're expecting from me? What is it that you're looking for? What even attracted you to me? How do you know that you'll be able to? I ask all of these questions up front. And they be like, oh, Apostle, that's too much. That's you're not. No, maybe you have time for that, but I don't have time. I learned my lesson from not finding out ahead of time and just hoping that God is going to work it out, because that's what I was taught to believe. You don't go to outside people. You don't talk about it. It's you and God. Y'all go to prayer and he going to work it out. That's the way I was brought up. But today's society said, no, that ain't enough. I'm going to need you to give me some steps. 12 steps, 3 steps. I don't care how many steps you give me, but tell me more than Jesus going to fix it. That's today's society, today's generation. We didn't question back then because we were too afraid of what was going to happen to us from God and our parents. But in this day and time, they're asking and they're expecting an answer. Pastor Rivera says, you have to love yourself more than you want these people around. I had to get there, Pastor Rivera. That's what I keep on saying. I was well into my 30s before I came to this realization. And that's where my freedom came in, Tati. That's where my freedom came in. You've got to love yourself. When you love yourself to the degree that you want someone else to love you, and that's a whole nother thing, then there's only so much you will tolerate before you realize, hey, I'm losing myself in this. I don't even know who I am. I don't even know where that came from, because that's not me. Why did I even say that? That's not even how I go about talking. And it's because we've been in something so long. We've been quiet even longer than that. And now when we're ready to voice ourselves, we're lost because we don't know where to start. We don't know how to do it correctly. Here's where counseling would have come in. But it's just, that it's loving to me. I see is about teaching us how to learn how to love ourselves. How to love ourselves. A lot of us are blessed. Is it Pastor Mac, Elliot Mac? Learning how to love the me that I see, because many of us have not been properly healed from our past hurts. We just moved on. We didn't let go. We just moved on, which means that we packed those bags and took them to the next location. We never dealt with it. We never got over it. We're still grieving it. And yet we're trying to live in the current situation. And you cannot do that. It is unfair to the place where you went next, that you bring all that unnecessary baggage and luggage. And you got some plastic bags. You got some Ziploc bags. You got some vacuum bags in this one suitcase that you brought, and you expect somebody to love you, and everything in that suitcase says you still don't even know what you want. You don't even know what you expect for somebody to love you. You don't know what you're looking for, because all you're going off is what you've been through, what you heard, things that you visually saw in your parents' lives, things that you saw in the lives of those connect. You carrying all of those expectations, but that ain't got nothing to do with you, because that was theirs. But the stuff that you've gone through, that for so many years you were made to keep it a secret, you never got delivered from that. You never became a healed person from that. Delivered and healed and delivered, whichever word you want to put first. You need to be both of them when you're going to this next place, because it is unfair to the next person for you to bring that cemetery over into their green garden. You're going to kill the flowers because you never dealt with what came before now. And so when you say, why can't you see me? You can't see you.
You don't know who you are.
You can't see you, because everything that you're talking to me about is a reaction or a direct reflection of what happened. And there was nothing in your conversation that said, I'm healed. Pastor Barnes said, the problem with the test drive. Oh, I did say that, didn't I? Yes. The problem with the test drive is that some dealerships will fix a car up just enough to get, oh, Pastor, I love it. Or is it Bishop now? I've been away so long. The problem with the test drive is that some dealerships will fix a car up just enough to get it sold. You won't know the most of the time until it's too late. I'm dealing with that even now. I just said that today. I was like, these people done sold me something, and by the time I get finished fixing it, it's going to be a new car, and I still wouldn't have paid anything because I'm spending more money paying to get it fixed. So you did what it took to get it off the lot because you saw that I liked it, but you knew it wasn't going to last long enough to get me down the road. And so that's what Pastor's saying. The dealership, they know what to do because they got the car. They see it before you. So they know whether it's junk or not. And they fix it to last long enough so that it passed all laws of the limit, and just after that time, the car started acting up. But they knew it was going to do that. So it's no surprise when you call them and say, hey, I need to bring the car in because it's acting like this. They act like they didn't know. And they tell you, oh, bring it in. We'll find out. We'll do it. So I agree with you, Pastor. I agree with you. People, I almost said the wrong thing. People will say what needs to be said to get what they need to get. And then once they get it, they just drop it.
Drop you, not it, you.
I wasn't going to do that.
Drop you. They say what sounds good. They say what you know you want to hear. If you got kids, God help, because they know just how to get you. They know where your soft spot is.
Oh my God.
All of that stuff. And then once they get you, you good for the first year. After the first year, you be like, what the heck did I just marry? Point blank.
You went straight to marriage, didn't you? So yeah, that test drive. So it was in reference to when you were saying you gave a lot of yourself and done. Yes. I just needed to know whether you were referring to what I said. Yes. Mm-hmm. I dummied down a lot to make others happy. I dummied down a lot to make somebody feel like they were important. I dummied down a lot to make somebody feel like they were needed or that they were shining, in our eyes. And we did it, and we didn't realize the monster that we were creating, because then when we really got tired of it and we were really ready to stand up for ourselves, now we've built this person up so high that they start talking and making us feel dumb. What? Now they're using the strength that you passed to them against you. Verbal abuse, emotional abuse, because you made them feel like you ain't know nothing. So now they treating you just like you ain't know nothing. And then when you wake up and say, you know what? what I'm not getting ready to do is this no more. Then they try to make you feel bad. Oh, why are you walking away? What you trying to say? Da, 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 da. No, for your own sanity, for your own peace of mind, and you're not married yet, because people are waiting for me to, tell people to leave their marriage. I'm not doing that. That's going to be your decision, boo, because you the one got to live with the feelings of the grief of losing that thing. I love marriage. I admire couples who have what it takes to last. And that doesn't mean that they put up with all of this nonsense. It just means that it wasn't enough to make them even think about walking away. It was, yes, because everybody has flaws. Nobody's perfect. That's why we're still alive.
That's right.
So when you're in this relationship, when you're in this friendship, when you're in this marriage, you have to pick your battles. There are some things that are just not worth 2 weeks of silence. First of all, you're out of order because the Bible says you don't go to bed with wrath on you, So outside of that, some people have just decided that it's just not worth the energy that it would take for me to go the other way. So yeah, so yes, Tati, I hope I'm explaining, or we're explaining, and then you realized you were alone after all of that and decided you didn't want to do it anymore. Well, then you realized that you were alone after all. I won't say that that is not how sometimes people end up. Not in all situations do you find out that you were alone after all. It's just that you realize that y'all were just two different people. And because of love, you didn't want to see the stuff that was being shown to you. And so you were so in love that all you saw, was what you wanted to see, or you were so in love that you didn't want to see patterns that you had already experienced. You just felt like your love was going to conquer all. So I don't think that in all cases it would say, and then you find out that you're alone after all. In some cases, I would say 100% you are accurate. But not always is it that we find out that we were in it alone all the time. It's just that we were oblivious. We just were so infatuated with the fact of being in love that we just chose not to see things that we should have. We chose not to speak on things that we knew we should have, because we were afraid that if we spoke on them, we might lose that person. Well, I say to you, I would rather have spoken up and lost the person in the beginning than to keep on staying in there, and now you in so deep you don't know how to get out. It's better to take the loss in the beginning than the end.
It's not easy to
It's
take
not.
the loss in the end, especially when you start having other humans involved or other people involved. It's just not that easy to walk away. But is it in fact that the person wasn't there all along, or because you were so hurt or you was in your own stuff that you didn't allow the person to be there with you?
And that's what I'm saying. You were so infatuated with the fact of being in love with somebody and having somebody that you chose not to deal with things. And I tell people all the time in counseling, and yourself included, I told people in counseling, we've told people, whatever you don't deal with now, when you get married, it's going to be magnified. Why? Because while you're dating, you can open the door and go home. But once you're married, you're in that house. Where you going? Because you done moved out of mama's, and mama done already said don't plan to come back. So where you going? So now you're out there and you're forced to see what you were trying to avoid. It's not like it just popped up. It was there. But because of being in love or infatuated with the thought of being in love, we miss a lot of things. I know I could say I was guilty of that at times, just so infatuated with the fact that somebody was trying to pay me some attention, you know? And so I don't care about that because they love me, or I don't care about that because this is how they treat me, or I don't care about that because no matter what I'm asking for, I had justification for them treating me wrong. Didn't realize that's what I was doing at the time. I just called myself defending my little friendship or my relationship. And so we've been guilty of that at times. And I believe if others would be as transparent, they would say the same thing. You were just so glad to be with or involved with somebody that you just was oblivious. Yeah, if we are guilty of committing our own stuff. I was waiting. We were still trying to talk to Tati. That's why I put it somewhere to forget. Okay, Pastor Max says we must understand that we look at the outside without looking into it. Check the Carfax. It tells the history regardless of what it looks like. You are exactly right. We couldn't have said it better ourselves. And thank you for summing up that whole half an hour I just did in this sentence right here, because and people still don't even get the Carfax.
We don't, because we don't remember to ask. I was oblivious to what a Carfax was.
Yeah, now I did it.
I was like, did you ask them for the Carfax? I'm like, what's that? And it tells you everything that the car was
any accidents, anything that happened to that car, and so many of us are. Many of us, again, and I'm gonna keep on saying it. I know y'all tired of me saying it, but I'm gonna keep on saying it. We're infatuated, and we did a whole live on infatuation, like love and lust. But we are so infatuated with the thought of being in something that we fail to see what is going to be necessary to maintain. It looks easy because I'm in love. Mm-hmm. It's going to be all right because he loved me. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're talking about. We're going, because no matter what I say or no matter what we do, we always end up back together, or he always do something nice. You know, I get them flowers and I get that chocolate, and he got the nerve to put some money in my hand. That ain't nothing, boo. He paying you. Now, I ain't even going to tell you what that make you. But I'm just saying that we get things twisted. And if we would have taken the time, you know, so often I say to people, I wish this older me could have been there to talk to the younger me. Mm-hmm. Because there are so many things that I would tell you to watch out for. There are so many key words that I would tell you to listen out for. There are so many actions that I would tell you, this means that you ain't going to last, or this means that they're abusive, or this means that they're possessive. Some of us do everything to defend what we're in, that we become isolated. How do we get all the way over here? Why can't you see me? That's what we're supposed to be talking about.
Because you didn't look at my Carfax before you.
Oh, why can't you see me right? Because you ain't look at the Carfax. You ain't read, boo. You ain't read. Apostle, I promise myself I will never mishandle again. We allow people to just us and blame them.
To just us?
Let me see if he corrected it. You missed it, Princess? Oh, go back and listen after this, but you coming in right on time. Pastor Mac, we allow people to just us and blame them. Can you fix that, please?
Does that hurt us and blame them?
But yeah, so why can't you see me? Like, what's up? Like, what am I not doing that you don't see the real me? What was I doing that gave you this impression that it was all right for you to handle me this way? What is it that I did not say that gave you the right to do what you're doing to me? Why can't you see me? What did I do? Did I not do something? Did I miss the place where I was supposed to plug in some words? What happened? I just need to know why you can't see me. I just need to know why with everything that I'm doing to try to make sure you know I'm there, you still can't
I think
see
that's a selfish.
me.
I think it's just a selfish person. I mean, what other way is there to say it? Like you're just selfish. You don't care about nobody but yourself. Um, because out of all that we've done or doing, and you still can't see, like what? Oh, misuse us.
We need to take accountability for allowing others to misuse us by wanting something so bad you ignore the questions. And I'm telling you, it's so real. And if people would really tell the truth, it would save a lot of people. We're so embarrassed by what we didn't do that we failed to instruct or teach or show or advise anyone behind us, because it would mean that we have to admit where we went wrong. And for me, I feel like if we can just go ahead and admit where we went wrong and help somebody, we could save a lot. They talking about how much divorce is in the church. And why is it there? Because there are so many things that we just don't talk about. Let's just tell the truth. There are so many things that have been taboo. And now people such as myself who want to talk about it, now people say we coming at the church or we speaking ill of the church. No, we're not. I love God and I love the church, and I understand that God did not hurt me. It was the people inside the church that did it. So once I came to that realization, now I can start dealing with what's really wrong, because God didn't do it. He allowed it, but he didn't do it, because nothing happens to us, good or bad, that he does not allow. Facts. The word says it. Before you were born, I knew you.
He knows the hair on your head.
So that means that everything that's happening, he already knew. He knew we was going to do some jacked up decision making. He knew that. But the fact that you're still alive means he already knew that you were going to be strong enough to go through it. The fact is, some of us are stuck and we think we're through.
And you just stuck.
You stuck and you think you're through. Why am I stuck? Because I'm still not dealing with me. I'm still not dealing with me. I'm still blaming whoever did whatever they did to me for me being who I am. When the fact of the matter is, yes, they did it. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it knocked me down. But I got up. What did I do after I got up? What did I do after I got up? All right. Princess said foolishness. Issues don't just arrive. We've been trained as a people to ignore hurt. This goes back to slavery and church. Teach us to shout and praise God while in pain. How about deal with the pain first? And that's what I've been saying. Like, we have gotten so good, so good
the person that calls
at perpetrating a fraud. Now, that's a good question. Ask it again.
What happened when you're the person that caused the pain?
See, because, and I say all the time, there is no problem that exists one way. There is no problem
who it is
that exists one way.
Nada.
Either you're the one causing the problem, or you're the one who is not acknowledging the problem, and so therefore you allow it to continue. So both of you are active participants in the problem. One of you is doing something, the other one is doing nothing, knowing that it exists. So both of y'all are part of the problem. So again, it goes back to, like I said, back in the day, in our days of coming up, we just didn't express ourselves like we're doing even right now. We would be in tarry service because it would be considered rebellion and back talking. And so therefore there was more reason for them to have us at the altar. You know, we didn't get away with half the stuff this generation get away with, and yet they feel like we're too harsh. Then that means that they wouldn't even have survived the church we came up in. So yes, the church, I say all the time, it was Jesus to fix it. Prayer, revival, homeschool, prayer, revival, Jesus to fix it. Prayer, school, home revival, go to church while the rest go to the beach, go to school, come back. It was just a routine. There was nothing.
Routine like that.
We didn't have no women's outreach where we got to sit down and really talk about what we're going through and share with one another so we can network and help one another. They didn't do that back then. The women's department, we did things church oriented, raised some money, and then waited for next year. We didn't do anything that would nurture or support. They didn't do that because Jesus was gonna fix it. And it's not knocking it, it's saying that that's all they knew. They taught us what they knew to do, which is what their parents taught them to do. So it is now that we've come to another generation that says, yeah, well, that might have worked for you, but I'm gonna need you to explain that a little better. Mm-hmm. Why? Everything you said, why? That would be my kid. Why? Mm-hmm. Well, but why? But why? Then you want to knock them in the mouth because stop asking me, but why? I'm asking, but that's really how it is now. What's the excuse now? If we were to deal with what you're saying right now, mm-hmm. what would be the excuse now for all this mess? Because we're saying that our generation is the way we are because of the way we were brought up in home and church. All right, so now we have another generation who has a lot more freedom than we ever had. And yet we still got mess. Yet we still have abuse. Yet we still have mishandling. Yet we still have divorce. Even after having a test drive.
That's the truth.
Because that test drive felt good right then. But what if a car accident comes and now you got somebody that's ugly as all out back, or they no longer are able to perform sexually? What are you going to do? Step outside the marriage? Because that's the new day. You're not going to stay there and try to figure out another way to have love? That's because for you, lovemaking is body. When in fact, lovemaking is mental. Mm-hmm. You need to make love to me all doggone day if you expect to get something at night. Don't just go to work. Don't say nothing to me at lunchtime and break. Come home, sit down, eat your dinner, and now you're ready for business. The devil is really crazy. What you're going to do is, if you want me, well, grown folk talk. You want me moist, then you got to do what you got to do, or else we ain't doing nothing but turning over till tomorrow. So,
I think I got comments.
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm getting ready. Thank you, sir. To God be the glory. We try. You better have discernment. The Carfax can only show you that what's been. Oh, okay. So if somebody had an accident with that car and they didn't report it,
the Carfax won't show it. Sounds like.
Oh, wow. Yes, Pastor, we figured you meant hurt us. Oh, wow, Pastor Rivera. You got blessings, Apostle. You gotta set standards. You really do. You gotta set standards. The problem is abiding by them. Because if you set standards and then you're part of the reason why the standards are being broken, what are you expecting? Because we set these standards and we start off real good. We get around somewhere between 3 to 6 months. Them standards start looking like they too high. The truth, these standards start looking like they too high because either he kissed you the right way or she responded the right way, and now you want to move differently, and we forget the standards that we said we had in the beginning. Well, what I'm not going to do is this. Oh, what I don't like is this. And you do all of that, and then one good lustful moment, and you forget you set standards. And then once something negative happens because of that, now we want to go back to, but I told you. So why would you do that? What'd you say? Other than yawning.
I agree.
People are used to suppressing their feelings. You're right, Tosh. And that's what I'm saying. It's the way that we've been brought up. Who said that? It's the way that we've been brought up. Again, I always say that in the days that we were coming up, all of this back talking stuff, it just wasn't tolerated. Parents hit you in your mouth. Diapers wasn't coming to get you. The parents was willing to sit you at the door and wait for diapers to come. They would tear your butt up. Some parents did it in church. Some let whoever the adult was reprimand you, and then when you got home, you got it again. This day and time, everybody's scared to hit their children. Everybody's scared to reprimand because they think their children are going to be taken. Well, the system can't hold but so many. So, it's a matter of getting the strength to open up. And God knows. Nobody knows this. Oh my God, God knows. This was a source. This was my thing. I didn't know how to speak up. I felt all of these things, but I didn't know how to voice it because in that day, I would have been seen as rebellious. Or what's the word they use? Rebellious or arrogant. And they just didn't give as much merit to what the young people had to say back then. You were seen and not heard pretty much. And then if you went to somebody because you thought you could talk to them, then they rebuke you. They never give you an answer. They just go with the rebuke. And so because of that, it took a lot of years, and I'll keep on saying a lot of years for me to finally feel safe enough that I could say what I need to say and not worry about what anybody else is going to say behind that. You can't do anything about my truth. This is my truth. That might not be your truth, but it's my truth. And what I'm no longer going to do is make somebody allow somebody to make me dismiss my truth for their sake. And so it takes a lot of courage and strength, Tosh, to get to the place where you could say, I'm going to talk about it. And one thing I've been with my children and with ministry, I've always said, tell me anything. I'd rather hear it from you than hear it from anybody else. I might not be ready all the time, so give me my chance to have my little conniption, but I'll be back. But tell me. It's open. I want to know. I don't want to find out from somebody else. And so my mother didn't agree with that. God rest her soul. She thought that I was giving my children too much freedom when I tell them and talk to them about sex and dating, what to look for, what you don't want to do, preparing. I tried to protect my daughter, that goes again. It's just a lot, but it is, it's necessary. We can't. Jesus didn't change, but he did adapt to the environment. You can't conquer what you're not willing to confront. 150%. That's one thing Apostle has told us in a different series that she taught us on emotions. And what was the other thing? It was still part of the emotions. The first thing you do is confront that it is. You admit that it's there.
You have to admit.
You got to admit. You can't fix a problem you saying ain't there. You that person that everybody else is the problem but you.
Yep. At some point, you got to look at you.
15 people saying the same thing about you. You don't think nobody need to investigate that? So I think that being willing to confront it takes a lot of courage. And we commend people that do that. And we tell you to applaud yourself. Applaud the small steps. Don't wait until you get complete victory. Acknowledge the fact that you made some progress. Just acknowledge that you make progress. People who have building funds have a thermometer up there, and there's a coloring in each time they reach a certain amount, and they have an idea of how it's progressing, and you get to that top. And so there's celebration all along the way, because now we realize we can do this because we got this, and we can do this because we got that. We ain't get there yet, so we got to wait on that. But we see that things are happening. And so, yes, being willing to confront it is imperative. Pastor Wyatt said, This defines the meaning of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expectations of different results. Overseer Armor says the same thing. It's a process. Um, you can't fix it if you keep on going in the same circle and never do anything to change. Even if the circle is happening again, something you learned from that first time should put a stop sign in there. Oh, there's an opening right there. Oh, something must have happened. Oh, breakthrough must have took place on that one. So we can go around now and we can start making that circle become a little bit smaller, because each time we go around, we're fixing the things that were going on. We saw what we did wrong, and so we did something to fix it. This is a powerful statement. Sensual before sexual. Now that'll talk. Sensual before sexual. And that's a a statement that others may not be willing to or want to admit to. So you
Oh, okay.
and this is gonna lead to sex. So why you doing it? Why you?
So you're leading the person.
Yeah, why
on.
you?
Okay, gotcha.
Getting all of the senses, going at it, and that's what's coming next. Who says no to that? That's what some people would think. But then if you got the right person, they'd be like,
Don't
you know
play
what?
with fire if you don't want to get
Right.
burnt.
So the right person, the right thing to do would have been like, hey, you know what? That got me feeling some kind of way. I really would prefer that you didn't do that. But for the most part, nobody will be honest. And then we find ourselves in these negative situations because your no wasn't as assertive as it should have been to say, for real, like, no. What sometimes no is, oh, stop, no, don't do that. No, and you want them to keep on doing it, as opposed to, you know what, no, I can't do that. I'm not willing to do that. I think it's time for one of us to go home. And since I live here, maybe it should be you. So yeah, sensual before sexual. Willie Lynch said it best. Mental slavery is a subliminal tactic to use to keep Africans in America in psychological chains for generations. In 1712, Willie Lynch prophesied this method of control that would push an inferior mentality on the enslaved and eliminate the strength in numbers that unity provided Africans in America. Lynch stated that the correct use of his methods will control these Africans in America for 300 years or more. Wow.
I feel like I just was in history class.
Huh? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. But it really is. I tell my bestie all the time, learn who you're with, because these people study you. There are some men that women. Here I go jumping. Women meet somebody on Sunday. By Saturday, they ready to get married.
Not by Saturday.
By Saturday, they ready to get married. They want to start planning things. Meanwhile, he meets you, and it's year number 1, and he's still trying to figure out if y'all going any further. Now, that might be an exaggeration, but that's the truth. Women go in and jump in. They don't know how to wait. They don't know how to hold. Hey, Jamalette. Hey, Jesse. They don't know how to wait. They just, this is it. This, you can't tell me nothing. This is it. I know this is it. Because why would God let them come? This is it. And the brother on the other side saying, here we are at a year, and I'm still trying to figure out whether I want to take you to family functions. They move just that slow when it comes to relationship. You will find very few men who jump in as quick as women, because men just would rather be your friend.
Pastor Smiley, aka
hey. Guys just don't go head first. They don't. They want to date you for a while. They want to see. They want to take that time to observe everything, so they know whether they want to take you around family. You never wonder why we've been going together for a year, and you might talk to my family on the phone, but when it's time to go out, all you go out with is my friends from around here. Mm-hmm. But I ain't take you none of my family. Nothing about that tells you that this dude is not really where you at. And so, why can't you see me? because there are so many layers that have yet to be pulled that it is hard to see what is not being shown. I got all these layers. This happened to me at 9 years old. This happened to me at 12 years old. This happened to me at 15 years old. This happened to me at 18 years old. This happened to me at 21 years old. This happened to me at 24 years old. Nowhere in there did you say, and I was healed. So all of those years, all of that hurt, all of that rage, all of that grief, all of that abandonment, it's just there. You've been walking around with it, putting it on every morning when you get up to go to work, putting it on every Sunday when you go, putting it on and ignoring the fact that you see the blood coming through there. You can't tell that red is on that white. And we just keep on getting dressed. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Until something happened and it's devastating, and now you want to see what you didn't want to see. Now you're ready to deal with it, but it was there.
Me of the women's conference that I had. Take the mask off.
Peeling the mask.
We've been masked up for so long, so we don't peel off the mask or the layers. We just pile it on top of each other, and it just keep piling it instead of letting it peel off.
And it's just, we have to want what we're looking for. We say we want to love the me that I see. Do you know who that is? Have you investigated your own self? Have you put the time and energy that you use to talk about somebody else and follow them around? Have you followed you?
I'm going to preach that. Are you healed or made whole? Which one are you?
It's just, why can't you see me? Because I haven't shown you who I am. And why haven't I shown you who I am? Because I haven't introduced myself yet. And why haven't I introduced myself yet? Because I don't know how to start the conversation. And why don't I know how to start the conversation? Because the way I grew up, we just didn't talk about it. What happened here better stay here. So why can't I? Why? I wrote a poem that says, why can't I be me? The question tonight is, why can't you see me? You're looking at me. You're having conversation with me, but you still don't see me. Our whole conversation is based on what you would like to see, but it never deals with what you see. So I want to thank all of you who came on tonight. We've been trying to do real good. We're not staying on longer than an hour. I believe that this has been a very fruitful conversation. It is a real conversation. Some of us, even not some of, a lot of us in ministry have this question: why can't you see me? A lot of us, because we have been trained to serve. We've been trained to shut up. We've been trained to yield. We've been trained to serve no matter what. And so now, we don't know who we are because we've always been something else to everybody else. And we never had a chance to be ourselves with ourselves. Therefore, I don't know what it's going to take to love me because I haven't had time to figure that out because I've been too busy trying to fix you. I've been too busy trying to help you. I've been too busy trying to serve you. I've been too busy remembering you told me to shut up. I've been too busy remembering that I better not let it get out. Why can't you see me? I just want you to see me for who I am, flaws and all. I stayed with you no matter what. But when it came time for you, when the flaws started showing up on the other side, you ready to walk. But for 10 years, 10 years, I've been dealing with yours, praying that things will change, even asking God to change me instead of you. But when it came time for you to see me, there was no effort. You didn't have the energy. You didn't have the time. You didn't have the desire to know who I really was. because it might mean that you can't treat me the way you've been treating me. And that goes for ministry as well. What Tasha said? I feel as though people can't really be themselves or truly be seen because the church is too busy judging them instead of praying. Yes, that's basically what we judge. The Bible says, judge not that ye should be judged. And if we expected God to give us the same mercy that people are expecting from us, what, praise tell you, will God give you when he sees what you're doing to his people? People ought to have a venue where, as long as it's respectful, I think that venue needs to be there where they say, I can be honest. Go ahead and be transparent about what you feel. As long as you're saying it in the correct vein, then there's no disrespect because I gave you the door. I opened the door and I said, I want you to be transparent. I want you to tell me exactly how you feel. That means I want you to tell me. I don't know about anybody else, but when I say it, I want you to tell me exactly how you feel. You can't expect me to help heal. You can't expect me to help mend. You can't expect me to help make sense of something that you just refuse to share with me. So I agree, Tosh. I really do. Next talk, take the mask off or remove the mask. Okay. Or throwing shade from the pulpit, no less, Tosh. From the pulpit. I can't stand that. Don't preach about me over the pulpit when you had the opportunity to tell me in my face. That I've been like that forever. Don't do that to me. You was just standing in my face. Why you wait till you get behind the pulpit? That the pulpit ain't gonna, but the pulpit ain't gonna save you because you got to come out the pulpit. Mm-hmm. Now, when you come home, you're gonna see that car sitting in front of the house. Or back then, my sneakers and me sitting on the porch. Don't do that to me. I don't do that. I despise. I hate that because if the church is supposed to be a hospital, why is the hospital the one causing the pain?
They ain't giving you no medicine to heal it.
Why do Christians shoot their wounded? We get ready to go, y'all. Thank you so much for all of you that came on. Whether you caught the tail end or you were here for all, we appreciate you. Those of you who are coming on in these last 15, 20 minutes, feel free to go back and watch the live. We had some good conversation tonight on Why Can't You See Me? And we had some very fruitful conversation on expectations, unspoken and spoken. And so this has proven to be another fruitful night. Thank you to the apostles that came on, especially Apostle Speaks. I know they're in their 40 days of prayer. And so I know that they've been tired. Pastor Bass, to Pastor Mac, to Pastor Tracy, to Pastor Wyatt, to Sister Latasha, to Tanasia, to Dominique. Did I say Pastor Mac already? No. To Pastor Mac, to Bishop Spate, to John Millette and Jesse, and to Pastor Lawrence. That's what I said, Pastor Lawrence. Oh. Pastor Lawrence, to, I hate missing people, that's why I stopped. Sister Elaine Brown, thank you. To my daughters, Crystal, Kaishua, and Kendra, to Pastor Barnes, to Zion Adams, to, is she missionary? Yeah. Sonia Jennings, missionary Jennings. I hate not calling people in the correct title. Sorry, y'all. But thank you so very much for joining us tonight, to hanging in with us. Pastor Rivera at all times. Love this guy. Thank you for your fruitful contribution. All of you, Pastor Mac, Pastor Wyatt, and Pastor Rivera. Y'all had some good conversation for us to go off. Pastor Tracy as well. Said Apostle Speaks, right? Mm-hmm. And just looking back, guys, because I like to. That's everybody. Tati. Oh, Tati, you've been doing your thing. Don't stop. Prophet Tiquan. Thank you so much for participating and carrying the conversation, because the things that you said caused others to respond. And so it kept the conversation going. We appreciate you. My bestie pushes me, but this is a we thing, and we support one another in what we do. And so I'm grateful that she is always here to let me know that it's going to be all right. She reminds me that better days are coming, and we do the same for her. We're going to do this until God says differently, and so forth. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. And so I love God. I love you all. And Bestie's going to have last words, and she's going to pray us out. Meet us back here at 9:15 on next Wednesday. For those of you who are local, like in the Newark area, East Orange, Jersey City, there's a service this Saturday for Pastor Jessica Lawrence. The guest preacher is going to be awesome, and we're looking forward to what God is going
Everybody
to do.
keep asking me who the preacher is. I ain't telling
It's going to
nobody.
do. It's a surprise for her, so we can't say who it is, but you will not be sorry about coming. Meet us at Sardis Temple, 506-18th Avenue in the city of Newark, New Jersey, and we will be there celebrating this great woman of God. And then join us. For those of you who are in the area of Pennsylvania, come and meet us 11:30 on Sunday morning. It's first Sunday. Who preaching you? Where the good queen, the Apostle Wyatt, is going to be going forth in the word here at the prophetic birthing room here in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And then travel on up the road with us back to Newark, New Jersey at Resurrection Outreach Ministries, where
Pastor Saken Evans will be our preacher for our Apostle Armor at the 4:00 hour. And we are excited. I'm so excited for my daughter on Saturday. I can't wait to see her face. There's so many things that we have in store, so many gifts, things that she doesn't even know of. She's going to be 31, and she is well deserving of it. And
the age of maturity for ministry.
Yep, the age of maturity for ministry. So we are excited. Come and see who our special guest is on Saturday. You won't be disappointed. We love you all. Somebody's saying something I can't see.
Yes, she will.
I don't know about that part.
She will, sir. I love her preaching. Have always, even before we became friends, I just have always enjoyed her. She can preach and she will prophesy. And I just love to watch her go forth in the Lord. No intimidation at all. Just love to hear her preach. She can preach about a French fry to me. I tell people all the time. I love to hear this woman of God preach. So I'm excited. Be with us. Spend the weekend with us. Saturday in Newark, Sunday morning in Allentown, Sunday afternoon in Newark. You will not be sorry that you came. We are looking forward to what God is going to do. But again, meet us here next Wednesday as we continue this conversation. It looks like we're going to be dealing a lot with expectations and peeling off the mask, because when you ask the question of why can't you see me, you want to make sure that the mask is not on your face. You want to make sure that it is because they're just not digging deep enough to find out who you are, as opposed to you having on so many layers and masks that they don't know how to figure out who you are, because they never know what they're looking at next. So make sure you're not the reason why they can't see you. There's a flip side to every conversation. There's a negative and a positive. So it's not always that they're just refusing to see you. Sometimes you just refuse to be seen. That's all I'm saying.
So I am excited. Pastor Elliott, we talked about taking the mask off at my women's conference, our women's conference, Battered, Abused, but Not Abandoned Women's Ministry. That's something God gave me over 13 years ago. I'm thinking about bringing it back for 2023 because I had dropped it for a minute. But a lot of our women are hurting. They do have masks on. And Sister Tasha asked a good question tonight. And I think that is well noted. What happens, when you don't know how to open up and talk, or you're afraid because of what somebody else may say or do, or you don't know how to be transparent because you've been so hurt, especially in the church. But I just come to believe,
men too,
that yes, men too. I just come to believe that we are the breakers. We are the breakers, because when people come to us, we tend to try to help people to see who they are. We don't have time to be judgmental. And talking across, speaking to someone across the pulpit is very crucial, because
It's cowardly.
you have somebody's lives on your hand, and you just don't know what might happen. That person may never come back again because of they shared with you, and then you get up and discuss their business across the pulpit. I cannot stand it, and that's something that we make sure we pride ourselves on, that we don't do. Now, if God give us a word,
we
and
ain't
we
gonna
in
not
your
say it just
business,
because it's you, boo.
then know that it's from God, not because it's something that you shared. But many people have found comfort in coming and talking because they know that it will not go any further. And we tend to try to pray for those that we have around us. Is what I do. It's my life. I get in trouble because I tend to pray for a long time. I think the older I get, my time is, don't do me like that. I think the older I get, my time is going down a little bit. Apostle always got jokes. But
y'all will see one day.
It's been my life, and it's been keeping us. So we're going to pray.
Pastor Mac, I'm sorry, you said men too, but I keep saying I want to do this conference, but I need the right people to respond to me. I want to do a conference that says men hurt too. That's just what that's what's going. That's the name. Men hurt too. It's coming. Somebody going to help me get it together, and not just tell me it's a good idea. Somebody's going to actually work with me to get it off the ground, because men hurt too. Women are more vocal. Men suffer in silence.
You got some vocal men. It depends on
It
who
ain't
they are.
that many. You don't want none of my men. You guys are like a lockbox.
My bonus daughter calls me her diary. She calls me her diary. From the time I met her, she's been calling me that. I don't think she's still on here, but nonetheless, you have to understand, when people share stuff with you, it's not your place to go out and share it with someone else. We cannot stand for confidentiality to be breached. When we come together in our women's circle, we make you sign a confidentiality form, and if it is breached or if it is broken, you will no longer be allowed to come back to the women's group, because there are people lives that they sit in there and they talk about some real life stuff, and they cry out their heart to us, and they can trust us. People in our circle that come together, they should be able to trust as well. And we're getting ready to start back up our women's conference again. But that is so true. We're going to push Apostle for her men hurt too, because she's been talking about it for a minute. But y'all pray for us. We have a lot on the horizon. We're coming out, getting our book started. I'm going to be doing a book on marriage and divorce in the church. Apostle is doing her book on worship. So just pray for us. We have a lot that we are getting ready to do for 2023, and I am excited to be in the number. I'm excited to be in the number. So if that's it, I'm going to pray. Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you. We praise you for these 9 people that have joined us tonight on Loving the BIC. Now, kind God, we ask you as we leave tonight, oh God, that somebody's heart will be strengthened. Father, we pray in Jesus' name that somebody's emotions will be intact. We pray tonight, God, that you would touch the emotions and the minds of your people tonight. Father, help us, God, to put our expectations in you and not on man. We thank you tonight at all times for Apostle Arma. Continue to give her strength as you give her the wisdom on what to talk about and how to come forth on Loving the BIC. We thank you for this show. Reach many platforms, and many leaders, God, will be healed through this. We give you praise, we give you honor and glory. Until we meet again next Wednesday, be with us all is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
Love you guys. See you soon.